Today we have with us the 2021 brand new Mercedes E-Class. This is the Mercedes E220d LWB, which means the long wheelbase variant. And in this video we're going to be giving you a very detailed review of this car, talking about styling, then the performance of this car, followed by the features, practicality, comfort, and last but not the least, the pricing of this car as well. So be sure to watch this video till the complete end, and we have given the timestamps to all the video segments in the description down below. And so with that said, let's start with the review of the Mercedes E-Class. But before we start with this review, I would especially like to thank Joshi Autozone Mercedes, which is the official Mercedes dealership here in the Chandigarh area. They have an amazing inventory of almost all the Mercedes cars, and you can know more about them using the links in the description below. So if you have any questions regarding this car or any Mercedes car for that matter, contact them using the links in the description below. Let's kick off this review with the styling of this car, and from the front end alone, with the first glance you can easily tell that this is a completely new car. Comparing it from the previous generations of the Mercedes E-Class, well, it's completely different. Starting off with the grille, if you look at the grille in this car, this is kind of the hybrid version of the Mercedes grilles that came in the normal cars and the AMG cars. If you look at in this car, you can see that the grille has those slats, those vertical slats that the AMG grilles got, and it also has the dual slots of the Mercedes E-Class grille. Coming to the headlamps, these are the one things that give this car a completely different look, and the headlamps of this car are a piece of art. Really, they've done a very good job making them, and obviously they're completely LED, which means one of the best lighting conditions on the road while you're driving a Mercedes E-Class. But also, if you notice one thing in this car is that the DRLs, instead of the two-strip DRLs that you got in the previous Mercedes E models, you this time around just get a single strip DRL. But the very cool thing about this DRL is that if you look at them closely, they very well resemble the DRLs that you get in the AMG GTR as well. Not that I'm saying that they've copied it from it, but it does give this car a very sporty look, and for the Mercedes fanboys, they can actually make that out pretty well. Now, as soon as we come to the side profile of this car, first of all, obviously being the LWB, that is the long wheelbase, this car is pretty long. But one thing that I do like about this car, especially because it's the black color, black in my personal opinion is one of the most classiest color of a car, and with this black color, the chrome accents that you get in this car around the windowsills and in the bottom part of the car over here, they really pop out and look very nice on the car. Talking about the alloy wheels, we get 17-inch alloy wheels in this car with the Mercedes 5-spoke design, which in my personal opinion looks very nice, and with such a classy car, they go really well. And without a doubt, when you come to the rear end of this car, my personal favorite part of this whole car has to be the rear end, just because of these tail lamps. These tail lamps now give this car such a striking and sporty character, which in my personal opinion, I think that the previous Mercedes E-Class was lacking. But in this car, they have completed that, and it just gives this car a very nice look. The chrome accents even in the rear have been completed all around the trunk of this car. We get the Mercedes logo over here and this chrome accent beneath it, but we also get the Mercedes E220d badging on this side. And other than that, it's a very clean design. Nowhere else would you get to see any kind of badging in this car. Also, another place that they have placed chrome is around the exhaust pipes and the rear bumper of this car as well, which again, with this black color especially, it looks quite classy. The only word that comes into my mind when I see the interior of the new class is opulence. It seriously is a very opulent interior. The quality of materials like this wooden finish over here, complete leather everywhere, metal inserts all around the car really do give this car a very rich vibe. And really it is expected from a car such as the E-Class. The perfect blend of classiness and technology is how Mercedes has made this car. The way that they've done these EC vents, it's very old school and it looks quite nice, but the way that they've integrated everything, such as the displays, the new steering wheel in this car, really perfect blend of technology and old school. Oh, and yes, did I mention that this car also gets interior lighting, and especially during the night time, this car pops with color everywhere, and it is such a nice and luxurious experience. If there's one thing that I'm completely sure of when I look at this interior is that if you have the new Mercedes E-Class, or if you get a chance to sit inside one of these, there is one thing that you're never going to complain about, and that is the interior of these cars. Talking about the performance of the new E-Class, we get 3 engine options on offer. One petrol engine, which is the inline-4 2-liter engine. We have this, which comes in the E220d, which again is an inline-4 with a 2-liter engine, and then we get an inline-6 with a 3-liter engine in the E350d, which is the highest variant of the new E-Class. But if we talk about this engine spec specifically, the engine in this car is capable of producing 143 horsepower with a maximum torque of 400 Newton meters. And the 0 to 100 speed of this car would be around 7.3 seconds, which is plentiful fast for a family luxury car. So that was about the engine specifications. If we talk about the mileage, well, because being a new car, the ARAI mileage has not yet been declared for this car. But if we do take an idea from the previous E-classes, you can expect around 12 or 13 kmpl with this car as well. So starting off with the features in the new Mercedes E-Class, I want to start with the steering wheel of this car. This steering wheel, the new generation Mercedes steering wheel, really, the only word I can use to explain it is awesome. This complete leather wrap finish with the metallic inserts and the piano black inserts everywhere, it just gives this car a much more opulent feel. And the way to use it, it's actually very intuitive. All of these you think see over here, all of these are actual buttons, but in between these are actually touch controls. So as you can see, I'm just touching it and it's changing the volume. I can use this to control that display, as you can see, and then we have buttons over here for controlling the cruise control. Once again, touch capacity in the middle, and then we have actual buttons on the side. Then we have this touch over here for controlling that display, as you can see. Everything very intuitive and done really well. Next up, if we talk about this display, it has all the information that the driver could ever require, and you can easily customize it through these buttons. So if I press this button over here, you can see we get a lot of stuff in this display, such as radio, media, styles and display, something we're going to talk about, and then we have service. Going on the other side, we have trip meters, navigation, telephone, assistance. So all of these things are very standard, and this display, because this time around it's a display, you can actually customize it however you want. But one thing that is really cool is that you can also customize the styling of the display as well. So right now it's in classic, but if I move on to sport mode, you can see that everything will now turn into this blackish kind of with red inserts everywhere. It gives this car a much more aggressive design, which I think is really cool. But then you can change it to some other setting as well, going once again into style and display, and you can change it to this progressive design as well. It does take a few seconds because it has to change the whole system settings, but then again it does change the whole system vibe, and it's kind of really cool. Similarly, if we talk about this display, this is the MBUX display, which is a new addition to the Mercedes E-Class, and I have given a very detailed review of this MBUX display in my GLC video that I did when the new GLC came out. So I will link that video in the description down below. Go check that out if you want a very detailed review of this display. And I personally think that this display has to be not the best, but it comes very close to the industry leading displays that are there in the market right now. But with that said, there is one thing that I do want to talk about, and it's kind of a really cool feature of this car. So if you go over here and go into comfort, so if I go into color over here, as you can see, it gives you a complete color wheel. There are no specific colors that you need to set. You can choose any kind of color that you want, and that color ambient lighting would be displayed in your car, and that gives a very nice look, especially while you're driving at night. But something that not a lot of people notice is that, for example, if we go into this let's say green color over here, as you can see, the interior color has changed into green right now. But as soon as I turn on the AC in this car, as you can see, the blower setting is now into 4, so the AC has been turned on. And now let me control the temperature over here. I'm going to increase the temperature, so see what happens. Over on the passenger side, it's still green, but over on the driver's side, as I'm increasing the temperature, the ambient lighting has turned red. Similarly, if I change the temperature on the passenger side, I'm bringing it down right now. That's why that has changed blue, but still on the driver's side, it remains green. This is a small little very nice attention to detail. Once again, not a lot of people will notice this, but it is a great attention to detail. And last but not the least, the last feature I want to talk about in this car has to do with this star. This is actually a customizable button. and you can customize this button through this display, and so whatever you will program this button to do, this button will do exactly that, and it's a very unique and very useful feature that you will use in day-to-day life. In the rear of this car, we just have one feature which is excessively cool, and that is the presence of a tablet. This being the showroom car, they haven't placed the tablet over here, but when you do buy the car, they give you a tablet which is once again the MBUX tablet, and this is the same feature that we actually got in the Mercedes GLS as well. Once again, a link to that review in the description down below. In terms of some other great features in this car, you do get soft closed doors, which is an awesome feature, a super Burmester surround sound system, and in the range topping variant of this car you also get air suspension along with the 360-degree parking camera, which is quite useful for such a long car. And then last but not the least, you also get front seat memory. Starting off with the practicality, we're going to start with the glove box in this car, and as you can see, it's a very large glove box, oddly shaped because of that bump over there, but still you can easily keep a lot of stuff over here. You have a pen holder over here in terms of organization, so your pens won't be rolling around here and there in the glove box. Moving on into the center console of this car, once you open it, as you can see, we have this portion over here which can also be opened to reveal the ashtray of this car. We have the cigarette lighter over here, and then we have a USB Type-C port over on that side for charging your mobile phone. Then we get two cup holders over here which are actually removable, so you can take this out of the way as well, and it becomes a full-blown storage cubby as well, which may be useful to you. The armrests of this car also act as a storage cubby. You can press this button to open it, and then it reveals a very large and big storage cubby over here, easily keeping a lot of stuff. Then we also have one Type-C port over there in terms of connectivity. The door pockets of the front seats are very wide, and they're very lengthy as well, so storage spaces in the doors as well are quite practical. In terms of practicality, in the rear seats you get seat pockets for both the driver and for the passenger side seat over there, as you can see. Moving to this center console over here, you open it to reveal one cup holder along with two USB charging ports. And if those two charging ports are not enough for you, you actually get an additional add-on accessory which can be used like so. So this actually is inserted into the port that is for the use of external displays. So once you push it in like that, on the underside you can see we have additional two USB ports in this car. The middle seat of this car comes down like so to reveal us with one wireless charging pad over here, which is really cool, and then you can press this to reveal the bigger storage cubby for the rear passengers in this car. The door pockets even in the rear of this car are very large. As you can see, they extend even underneath the armrest of this car, and then you can easily keep like a 1 liter bottle over here along with some newspaper and magazines as well. And now for one of the most important parts of our practicality session, which has to do with the car's trunk. First of all, let's talk about opening this trunk. We have three ways. First is a request sensor given underneath over here. We have a button given on the driver's side door, and then we have a button on the key fob of this car as well. Press and hold it and it unlocks and opens the trunk, but you have to like completely open it with hand. It is rather easy because of the spring actuators given inside this car. But if we talk about the actual trunk space in this car, it is quite large, but because of this compartment right here, it does become a little bit small. And if you're wondering what this compartment exactly is, once you open it, as you can see, it is the spare wheel of this car. So just because of the compartment given over here, the trunk space of this car does get small a little bit, but it's a quite large trunk space. As you can see, it's quite deep, so you can keep a lot of stuff over here. For organization, you do get this one kind of bucket over here. Over on the other side as well, you do get that kind of a bucket, but in a larger form over here. You do get this net as well. So overall, you can keep a lot of stuff in the E-Class and plan a family road trip in this car. Alright, the most important part of any luxury car is the comfort, obviously, and so let's talk about that now. The comfort of the E-Class, first of all, my initial impressions when I sit inside these seats, these leather seats, really well done. Quite soft, quite plush. I can get gripped into my seat really well. Obviously, being the front seats, I can move the seat back and forth, and because it's a Mercedes, you obviously get the controls on the door of this car. But the lumbar support of this car has been given beneath over here. Everything obviously has to be electronic at this price point, and that Mercedes has kept up with. But if we do talk about some other things such as the headroom of this car, especially because of this panoramic sunroof that we get in this car, I get an extra of about 2 inches of headroom, so I have about 4 or 5 inches of headroom in this car. The legroom I can obviously adjust according to whatever I want because it's the front seats. And last but not the least, one other feature, especially for the driver of this car, that I really like is that you can actually control the passenger side seat from these controls. So you have to just press one button and then these controls can actually control the other seat as well. The theory behind that is, for example, if you keep a driver to drive your Mercedes E-Class and you're sitting back in the seats, well, you can just tell your driver to move the seat and you don't have to do any kind of hard work while you're owning this car. And if we talk about the rear seats, the story back here is actually better than the front seats. These seats are very, very luxurious. I mean, let's not even talk about the amount of legroom I have over here because you can see for yourselves. And the headroom as well, it's the same as the front seats. Once again, because of the panoramic sunroof that I get in the rear seats as well, I do get an extra 2 inches. So about 3 or 4 inches of headroom back over here as well. But if we move forward from space, we talk about the actual seat material. The seat material is obviously the same as the front ones, but the headrest in this car, I have to say they have to be one of the most luxurious headrests that I've ever seen. They've actually given you a full-blown pillow in the rear seats, which shows the amount of luxury that the new E-Class is giving. And one thing that actually blows my mind away is that they've given you recliner seats in the rear seats. I mean, this is one feature that you only used to get in the Mercedes S-Class, but now in the new E-Class you're getting that feature over here, not only with just reclining seats but also 3 memory seats even for the rear seats. That is amazing. And yes, if you're sitting in that seat, that is like the captain's chair in this car, you also get once again the feature to control the front seat in front of you so that you have the optimum amount of legroom however you want it in your Mercedes. Oh, and yes, you also get mirrors and electronically controlled sunshades in the rear seats of this car. And so last but definitely not the least, we have the pricing of the new E-Class. The new E-Class has been introduced in 3 variants. First is the petrol variant E200, and then we get this car, the E220d, and then last but not the least, the E350d, which is the top end variant of the new E-Class. And the prices of all these cars can be displayed on your displays right now. And as you can see, it's round about the category that we had in the previous E-Class as well. And so that's all for this video, guys. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. Comment down below what your favorite part of the new E-Class has been. Share this video as much as you can, and a subscribe to this channel would be great because it gives me motivation to create more such content just for you guys. Thank you for watching this video. We'll see you in the next one.